The Watchers and the Wanderer, the Ancient Eyes. High Admiral Zorak stood before the massive crystalline display that dominated the command chamber of the Cathary mothership Eternal Vigilance. The display showed thousands of red dots scattered across 3 star systems, each representing one of his surveillance vessels. For 47 cycles, the Cathary Empire had been watching the primitive species that called itself humanity. The humans fascinated and disgusted him in equal measure. They had barely mastered interstellar travel, yet they spread across space like some kind of infection. Their ships were crude metal constructs, held together with simple welds and basic energy systems. Their weapons were laughably primitive projectile launchers and energy beams that could barely scratch Cathary shields. Status report on the human expansion. Zorak commanded, his 4 arms clasped behind his back. His silver exoskeleton gleamed under the chamber's bioluminescent lighting. The humans have established 17 new colonies in the past cycle, reported Sub-Admiral Keth, her voice carrying the harmonic undertones of their species. They continue their reckless expansion pattern. No coordination, no central planning. Each human settlement operates independently. Zorak's mandibles clicked in disapproval. The humans' expansion strategy made no sense from a military perspective. They sent small groups to distant worlds with minimal protection. They established research stations in dangerous territories. They seemed to have no understanding of proper conquest protocols. Intelligence assessment. Zorak asked. The humans remain primitive, Keth replied. Their largest warships carry fewer than 500 individuals. Most of their vessels are civilian transports or research ships. They have no battle fleets, no strategic command structure. They appear to be driven by curiosity rather than conquest. This puzzled Zorak greatly. Every spacefaring species the Cathary had encountered followed predictable patterns. First came scouts, then military outposts, then invasion fleets. The humans did none of these things. They sent scientists to study plants. They established medical facilities to help other species. They shared their primitive technology freely with anyone who asked. It was either the most elaborate deception in galactic history, or the humans were genuinely as naive as they appeared. The Lone Wanderer. Dr. Elena Vasquez adjusted the atmospheric controls in her research vessel New Horizons and took a sip of coffee from her thermal mug. The ship was small by human standards, designed for extended solar research missions. She had been traveling alone for 3 months, collecting samples and data from unexplored systems. Elena was a xenobiologist specializing in extremophile organisms. At 34, she had already published groundbreaking research on life forms that survived in impossible conditions. This mission was personal. She had detected unusual energy signatures in the Kepler-438 system that suggested the presence of silicon-based life forms. The New Horizons was not impressive to look at. It was essentially a flying laboratory with living quarters crammed into one corner. The hull was marked with scratches from micrometeorite impacts and the patches where Elena had made emergency repairs. But inside, the ship contained some of humanity's most advanced scientific equipment. Computer, how long until we reach the target system? Elena asked, settling into her pilot's chair. Estimated arrival in 14 hours, Dr. Vasquez, the ship's artificial intelligence replied in a pleasant feminine voice. I should note that long-range sensors are detecting unusual energy patterns ahead. The signatures do not match any known natural phenomena. Elena frowned. What kind of energy patterns? Highly organized electromagnetic fields consistent with advanced technology. The patterns suggest a large number of artificial constructs in the system. Elena's pulse quickened. First contact protocols required her to immediately report any signs of alien technology to Earth Command. But the nearest communication relay was 6 days away. By the time her message reached Earth and a response came back, whatever was out there might be gone. Computer, analyze the energy signatures. Are they hostile? Unknown. The patterns are unlike anything in our databases. However, they appear to be in a state of passive observation rather than active scanning. Elena made a decision that would change everything. Maintain course, but prepare all scientific sensors for detailed analysis. If we're about to make first contact, I want every detail recorded. The trap springs. Zorak watched with growing interest as the lone human ship approached his outer sensor perimeter. The vessel was exactly what intelligence had predicted: small, primitive, and apparently unarmed. It moved at standard civilian speeds, making no attempt at stealth or evasion. "Sir, the human ship is heading directly for the Kepler 438 system," reported Navigation Officer Thex. "Should we intercept?" "Not yet," Zorak replied. "Let it come closer. I want to see what it does when it realizes it's being watched." The Cathary had positioned 5,000 warships throughout the system, using advanced cloaking technology to remain hidden. From the human ship's perspective, the system would appear empty until Zorak chose to reveal his fleet. "Sir, detailed scans of the human vessel are complete," announced Science Officer Vel. "The ship appears to be a research vessel. No visible weapons, but it's equipped with sophisticated analysis equipment." "Sophisticated by human standards," Zorak corrected. "What kind of research equipment?" "Molecular scanners, atmospheric analyzers, geological survey tools, and something our computers cannot identify. The unknown device generates quantum field fluctuations similar to our terraforming technology." Zorak's attention sharpened. Terraforming technology was considered advanced by galactic standards. The humans couldn't possibly have developed such capabilities on their own. "They must have acquired it from another species," he concluded, "or they've been hiding their true technological level." Elena stared at her sensor display in amazement. What she had initially thought were natural energy patterns were clearly artificial. The signatures were too organized, too symmetrical to be anything other than technology. And there were thousands of them, spread throughout the system like a vast network. "Computer, are you detecting any communication attempts from these unknown contacts?" "Negative. The energy sources appear to be maintaining complete electromagnetic silence. However, I am detecting active scanning beams focused on our position." Elena's hands moved quickly across her control panel, activating every scientific sensor the New Horizons possessed. If these were aliens, she wanted as much data as possible before making contact. "Computer, broadcast a standard greeting message on all frequencies. Follow first contact protocols." "Broadcasting now," the computer replied. "Message includes mathematical constants, human language samples, and peaceful intent declarations." Elena waited, her heart pounding. Minutes passed without response. Then her sensors began detecting massive energy buildups all around her ship. "Computer, what's happening?" "Dr. Vasquez, I am detecting approximately 5,000 large vessels decloaking around our position. They appear to be military in design. All vessels are powering weapon systems." Elena's blood ran cold. She was surrounded by a massive alien fleet, and they were preparing to fire. Her small research ship wouldn't survive even a single hit from weapons of that scale. "The misunderstanding. All ships, maintain weapons lock on the human vessel," Zorak commanded. "Do not fire unless I give the order." The human ship hung motionless in space, dwarfed by the Cathary battle fleet surrounding it. Zorak had to admit the human pilot showed remarkable composure. Any other species would have already tried to flee or would be broadcasting desperate surrender messages. "Sir, the human ship is broadcasting some kind of message," reported Communications Officer Zar. "It contains mathematical sequences and what appears to be linguistic data. Obviously a coded military transmission," Zorak said. "They're calling for reinforcements." "Sir, with respect, the message format matches known first contact protocols used by peaceful species," Vel interjected. "The mathematical constants are prime numbers and basic geometric principles. The linguistic data appears to be educational rather than tactical." Zorak's mandibles clicked in annoyance. The humans are masters of deception. This is clearly a trick to make us lower our guard while their main fleet moves into position. Elena tried to remain calm as alien warships surrounded her tiny vessel. Each enemy ship was at least 10 times larger than the New Horizons, and they all had weapons pointed directly at her. This is Dr. Elena Vasquez aboard the research vessel New Horizons. She broadcast on all frequencies. I am a scientist from Earth on a peaceful research mission. I mean no harm and have no weapons. Please respond. Silence. Elena tried again in different languages, using mathematical concepts and pictorial representations. Still no response. The alien ships maintained their threatening positions, weapons charged and ready. Computer, analyze the alien vessel designs. Can you determine their technological capabilities? The alien ships use energy shielding technology approximately 200 years more advanced than our current capabilities, the computer replied. Their weapons appear to be plasma-based with destructive potential far exceeding anything in human space. Elena realized she was completely outmatched. These aliens had technology that made humanity look like children playing with toys. But she was a scientist, and scientists didn't give up when faced with the impossible. Computer, activate the quantum resonance scanner. I want detailed analysis of their ship hulls, energy signatures, everything. Dr. Vasquez, activating advanced scanning equipment might be interpreted as a hostile act. They already think I'm hostile, Elena replied grimly. At least this way we'll learn something before they destroy us. The New Horizons' most advanced sensor array came online, sending quantum scanning beams throughout the alien fleet. Elena watched in fascination as data poured across her screens. The alien technology was incredible, but she could see patterns in their energy signatures that reminded her of theoretical frameworks she had studied in graduate school. Fascinating, she whispered. Computer, these energy patterns, they're not just advanced technology. They're using principles that could revolutionize space travel and terraforming. What Elena didn't realize was that her quantum scanning was being interpreted very differently by the aliens surrounding her. Sir, the human ship has activated some kind of advanced sensor array, Vel reported urgently. The scanning beams are penetrating our outer shields and analyzing our ship systems. Zorak's 4 eyes widened in alarm. Impossible. Human technology couldn't penetrate Cathary shielding. The scans are definitely of human origin, but they're using quantum resonance principles we didn't know humans had developed. Vel continued. Sir, these scanning capabilities are decades ahead of what our intelligence suggested. Zorak felt a chill run down his exoskeleton. If the humans had been hiding technology this advanced, what else had they concealed? Perhaps this lone research ship wasn't as harmless as it appeared. All ships, prepare to disable the human vessel, he commanded. I want that ship intact for study, and I want its pilot alive for interrogation. As weapons across the Cathary fleet adjusted their targeting systems, Elena continued her scans, completely unaware that her scientific curiosity was about to trigger an interstellar incident that would change the fate of both species forever. The Cathary had spent decades watching humanity, certain they understood everything about these primitive creatures. They were about to learn how wrong they had been. When humans don't fight like expected. The first strike. Elena felt the New Horizons shudder as alien energy beams struck her ship's hull. The weapons weren't trying to destroy her completely. Instead, they seemed designed to disable her systems systematically. Her engines went offline first, then communications, then life support. Computer, damage report. She called out as sparks flew from several control panels. Main engines are non-functional. Communications array destroyed. Life support operating on emergency power only. Estimated operational time remaining 4 hours, the computer replied in its maddeningly calm voice. Elena worked frantically at her controls, trying to restore power to critical systems. She was a scientist, not a pilot, but 3 months alone in space had taught her more about spacecraft maintenance than she had ever wanted to know. Can we restore communications? Negative. However, the quantum resonance scanner is still operational, and has completed its analysis of the alien fleet. Elena paused in her repairs. Even facing death, her scientific mind couldn't resist learning something new. What did we discover? The alien vessels use a form of quantum field manipulation for both propulsion and weapon systems. More significantly, their technology appears to be specifically designed for large-scale terraforming operations. Terraforming. Elena's mind raced. Computer, these ships aren't just military vessels. They're planet builders. But why would a terraforming fleet be armed like a battle group? Before the computer could respond, Elena's sensors detected several small craft launching from the alien ships. They were coming to board her vessel. The boarding. High Admiral Zorek materialized aboard the human ship in a flash of blue energy, accompanied by 6 of his elite guard. The Cathary used quantum teleportation technology for rapid deployment, a capability that usually terrified primitive species into immediate surrender. The human female standing in the ship's cramped command center didn't look terrified. She looked curious. Fascinating, Elena said, studying the aliens with scientific interest rather than fear. Quantum teleportation. The energy requirements must be enormous. Zorak was taken aback. Most species cowered when confronted by Cathary warriors in full battle armor. This human was analyzing their technology out loud. "You will surrender your vessel and submit to questioning," Zorak declared, his words translated by his suit's computer into human language. "I surrender," Elena said immediately, raising her hands. "But I have questions too. Your ships aren't designed primarily for warfare, are they? They're terraforming vessels adapted for military use." Zorek's 4 eyes narrowed. "How could you possibly know that?" "Your quantum field generators," Elena explained eagerly. "They're designed to manipulate planetary atmospheres and geological structures. The weapons systems are secondary additions. This is a colonization fleet, not a war fleet." The High Admiral felt a chill of recognition. This primitive human had deduced in minutes what Cathary military doctrine considered classified information. "You will explain how human technology can penetrate Cathary shielding," he demanded. Elena blinked in confusion. "What shielding?" "I was using standard quantum resonance scanning. It's basic scientific equipment." "Basic?" Zorek's mandibles clicked in disbelief. "Your scanning technology is decades ahead of what our intelligence indicated humans possessed." "Oh," Elena said, understanding dawning on her face. "You've been watching us, haven't you? For years, but you've only been observing our military and colonial vessels. You don't know about our research ships." The revelation. Elena led the alien commander to her laboratory section, talking excitedly despite being a prisoner aboard her own ship. As a scientist, she couldn't resist the opportunity to share knowledge with the first alien intelligence humanity had encountered. "This is quantum resonance scanning," she explained, indicating a device that looked primitive compared to Cathary technology, but operated on principles they were just beginning to understand. "We use it to study extremophile organisms in impossible environments. It can penetrate any kind of shielding because it operates on quantum entanglement principles." Zorek examined the device with growing amazement. The construction was crude by Cathary standards, but the underlying science was revolutionary. "How long have humans possessed this technology?" he asked. "About 15 years for the basic principles, but I've been refining the applications for extremophile research," Elena replied. "Most of our ships don't carry this equipment because it's specialized for scientific applications." Zorak felt the foundations of his worldview beginning to crumble. The Cathary had dismissed humans as primitive because their military technology was centuries behind Cathary capabilities. But the humans hadn't been focusing on military development. They had been pursuing pure science. "Why do you study extremophiles?" he asked. Elena's eyes lit up. "Because life finds a way to exist in the most impossible conditions. By understanding how organisms survive in extreme environments, we can develop new medical treatments, improve terraforming techniques, and prepare for colonizing hostile worlds." Terraforming. Zorak repeated thoughtfully. Yes, we've been working on atmospheric processors for worlds that can't naturally support human life. The technology has applications for helping other species too. Imagine being able to modify a planet's environment to support multiple forms of life simultaneously. Zorak stared at the human scientist with new understanding. The Cathary Empire conquered worlds and modified them to suit Cathary biology, destroying any incompatible life forms in the process. The humans were developing technology to create worlds where multiple species could coexist. The emergency protocol. While Alina and Zorak talked, neither of them noticed the small device attached to the New Horizons main computer core. It was barely larger than Alina's thumb, but it contained revolutionary quantum communication technology that operated on principles of quantum entanglement. When the Cathary had disabled Alina's ship, the device had automatically activated Emergency Protocol 7, the silent network. Across human space, thousands of seemingly unremarkable research vessels, cargo haulers, and civilian transports received Alina's distress signal simultaneously. The message was brief but clear. First contact had been made, and a human scientist was in danger. Captain Marcus Chen was hauling medical supplies to the frontier when his ship's computer chimed with an emergency alert. He read the message twice, hardly believing what he was seeing. Computer, verify this transmission. Is this really a first contact scenario? Confirmed, Captain. The signal originated from Dr. Alina Vasquez's research vessel New Horizons. Quantum signature analysis indicates she is currently surrounded by approximately 5,000 unknown vessels in the Kepler 438 system. Marcus felt his blood run cold. Alina was alone against 5,000 alien ships. He immediately changed course toward Kepler 438, knowing he would arrive far too late to help. But Marcus wasn't the only one who received the signal. The response. Dr. Sarah Kim was studying atmospheric conditions on a frontier world when she received Alina's distress call. She had never met Alina personally, but every human scientist knew of her work with extremophiles. Computer, plot a course for Kepler 438, maximum velocity. Dr. Kim, that course will take us through 3 unexplored systems. The journey is extremely dangerous for a single ship. Alina Vasquez is worth the risk, Sarah replied firmly. Besides, we won't be alone. She was right. Across human space, thousands of vessels were changing course toward Kepler 438. Not military ships, but the backbone of human civilization. Scientists, doctors, engineers, teachers, farmers, and countless others who had heard that one of their own was in danger. They came from research stations studying stellar phenomena. They came from medical facilities treating alien refugees. They came from agricultural worlds feeding half the galaxy. They came from engineering projects building impossible structures in the void of space. The Cathary had been watching human military vessels and colonial transports, dismissing them as primitive. They had never noticed the vast network of civilian ships that carried humanity's real strength, knowledge, compassion, and an unstoppable determination to help their fellow humans. The arrival. 3 days after Alina's capture, Zorak's sensors began detecting incoming ships. At first, it was just a few vessels approaching from different directions. Then dozens. Then hundreds. Sir, we have a problem, reported Sub-Admiral Keth. Long-range sensors are detecting massive human fleet movements. Ships are converging on our position from all directions. Zorak rushed to the command center, expecting to see the human battle fleet his intelligence had warned him about. Instead, his display showed something he had never encountered in 40 years of military service. The approaching human ships were all different. Different sizes, different designs, different energy signatures. Some were obviously research vessels. Others appeared to be cargo haulers or civilian transports. A few looked like they had been converted from industrial equipment. How many ships? Zorak asked. Current count is 12,000 and rising, Keth replied. But, sir, most of these vessels appear to be unarmed civilians. Zorak stared at the tactical display in confusion. This makes no sense. Why would humans send civilian ships against a military fleet? The answer came from an unexpected source. Elena's voice echoed through the Cathary command ship as she spoke to Zorak over the communication system. Because that's what humans do, she said simply. When one of us is in trouble, we all come to help. It doesn't matter if we're soldiers or scientists or farmers. We're human, and humans don't abandon each other. The standoff. The two fleets faced each other across the void of space. 5,000 advanced Cathary warships, each one capable of destroying multiple human vessels, faced 12,000 human civilian ships of every description imaginable. Zorak had never encountered anything like this in all his years of military service. His tactical computers couldn't even classify the human fleet because it wasn't really a fleet at all. It was a mob of individuals who had independently decided to risk their lives for someone they might never have met. Sir, the human ships are broadcasting on all frequencies, reported communications officer Zar. What are they saying? They're asking for Dr. Vasquez's release. They're also sharing scientific data, medical supplies, and technical specifications for various technologies. Sir, some of these humans are offering to trade advanced scientific knowledge for their colleagues' freedom. Zorak felt overwhelmed. The humans weren't acting like any military force he had ever encountered. They were acting like a vast extended family, willing to sacrifice everything for one member. Sir, there's something else, Vel added nervously. Our analysis of the approaching human vessels shows that many of them carry technology we've never seen before. These aren't primitive ships. They're specialized vessels carrying some of the most advanced science in the galaxy. Zorak realized with growing horror that the Cathary Empire had made a catastrophic error. They had been watching humanity's military vessels and colonial transports, dismissing them as primitive. But humanity's real strength didn't lie in their military. It lay in their scientists, their doctors, their engineers, and their unshakable determination to help each other. The humans hadn't built a battle fleet because they didn't think like conquerors. They had built something far more dangerous, a civilization based on knowledge sharing and mutual support. High Admiral, Elena's voice came through the communicator again. Your people have been watching us for decades, but you've been looking at the wrong things. You've been studying our weapons and our warships. You should have been studying our hospitals and our schools. Zorak looked out at the vast human fleet surrounding his forces. 12,000 ships crewed by beings who had traveled across the galaxy simply because one of their own was in danger. For the first time in his military career, High Admiral Zorak of the Cathary Empire realized he was facing an enemy his people had no idea how to fight. A species that measured strength not by the power of their weapons, but by their willingness to risk everything for each other. The Silent Protocol had revealed humanity's true power, and the galaxy would never be the same.